Hey guys, welcome back to another impressions video here to talk about Team Sonic Racing, another game that I completed recently. I guess the story mode, single player mode, and a game that has been sitting on my shelf for a while. I bought this on Black Friday for cheap. I'm kind of glad I did because this game was not very enjoyable, unfortunately. As some of you guys may know, I do love the kart racing genre, if you will. I'm a huge fan of the Mario Kart games, and I love trying different, different games in different kart series, including Sonic. Actually a big fan of the previous two titles, the Sonic All-Stars Transformed games here. I have the Wii U version, and I do have the digital version of the other game that came out on the PS3 and the 360, and I do have the Steam version of that game. And in fact, last year I played through the first one, Sonic Racing Transformed on Steam, and I enjoyed both this and the other game a lot, you know. And I guess I was excited to try Team Sonic Racing, but you know, the reviews were not that great, and unfortunately my verdict on the game is that it's not the best, unfortunately. But I do have to commend them, in terms of the new ideas that they were trying to bring in the table. They have the team element that's kind of like the key component in this game, and unfortunately it didn't really grab my attention. So let's dive into the game. Story wise, this game does have a story mode. It's your typical kind of like cheesy Sega Sonic type of storyline, where all the Sonic and his friends and the villains as well, like Dr. Eggman and whatnot, they enter this fictitious racing tournament hosted by this very mysterious character. And of course, as the tournament unfolds, things happen, and it winds up being this very evil plan set up by Dr. Eggman, and you're trying to basically recover and save the tournament from going to hell, pretty much. And the game does feature, again, a story mode, which in my opinion was a little bit too long. I think it takes about maybe, I don't know, five hours to complete the game, maybe. I did play this on normal difficulty, and quite frankly it was dragging towards the end. I think there are 6 or 7 different worlds, and you can it's kind of like Super Mario World, where you can move freely and you can kind of like take shortcuts, and depending on the requirements for each race, you can unlock different paths within the each map. And some cool ideas again, but not too. They were just not very fun. In terms of graphics, the game looks great. Typical Sega Sonic racing game. The very colorful performance was pretty good. I did play this on the PlayStation 5, so I don't know if there's some sort of native improvement for that game in terms of graphic resolution or frame rate. But I had a really good experience. After all, this game was developed by Sumo Digital. They have a lot of experience and pretty solid development team. So no problems with in terms of the quality and the graphics in this game. Moving on to the soundtrack, again, typical soundtrack, Sonic, tunes and songs, which is pretty cool. The voice acting on the cheesy side, again. The story mode features kind of like voice acting in between each race, and it's kind of like very basic, and the story doesn't make sense. I mean, I guess the voice acting itself is appropriate for what the game is, but the story and the writing is just I don't know, it's just pretty bad and completely unwarranted. Like sometimes it makes you wonder how Nintendo does things right by just not even trying. Like Mario Kart, for example, there's no story. It's just you play 4 races within a circuit or a cup, and you finish the cup, you win the cup, the trophy, whatever, and you move on. And these games, sometimes they try something fun, and story. They add story, characters, voice acting, and it just ends up being more convoluted than it needs to be. So the story and the writing and the characters and the voice acting, it just it just didn't contribute anything positive in my opinion. Maybe I'm being a little bit harsh, but that's just my my honest impressions on that front. And now, unfortunately, in terms of the gameplay, which is they make or break these types of racing games, the core gameplay itself is really good. The drifting mechanics are very fun. They remind me a lot of the first game, Sonic All Stars Racing. Very solid, very easy to grasp drifting mechanics, which to me are the key for kart racing games. And the reason why I did not enjoy the fan favorite Crash Racing team, the CRT game. I was looking forward to playing that game, and when I finally did, I just could not get into the drifting, controls and mechanics of that game. How it's very radically different from like the Mario Kart, where you just you use the shoulder buttons to kind of like drift your kart. This game has the quote-unquote Mario Kart, very similar to the Mario Kart mechanics, where you can drift, and it's very easy to control, very easy to maneuver while you're doing the drifting mechanic. In this case, you activated it by hitting the kind of like the brake button, and then that starts the sequence for the drifting. Very enjoyable in that regard. Very controllable. No problems with the precision and things like that, but it's the actual gameplay, the team mechanic that gets tiring very, very, very quickly. It's a neat idea that you're inside a team, and I think that same good idea also ends up being bad. Like I did not enjoy the fact that I had to rely on my AI, partners a lot. I think this is better suited for actually playing with other human people in your team. That way you can coordinate, because when you have enough power in your power bar, you can activate like the super move that if activated correctly, it lasts longer, and it's a key component to winning races more often than not. So the AI, while it's not bad, I felt like the game was in certain areas very easy. Especially early in the game, like maybe the first 5 worlds in the story mode were extremely easy. All you have to do is save that special super power up for the final lap. You activate that, and then the other 2 people, because it's teams of 3 people, the other 2 AI partners that you have on your team, they're gonna finish second and third respectively. You finishing first, and that's in the normal mode. But I do think that there are other like unfair components, like when the game gets harder, it's always in groups of 3. Like if I finish first, there's a really good chance that my AI partners will finish second and third, and then the rivaling team, the team that's closest to us in terms of points, they finish 4, 5, and 6, and then the third worst team, they finish like 7, 8, 9. There's very little variety. Like it would have been nice for the game to be like actually randomized. Like if I finish, for example, first, it shouldn't be a surprise that one of my teammates, for example, finishes on 8th position and the other one in 10th. But it's always kind of like linked together, which I thought it was a little bit of unrealistic and just not very fun. The computer always ran in packs, so each team finished predictably close to one another, if that makes any sense. So I did not enjoy that aspect. Again, there are some cool elements, like for example, if you are the leading character in your team, you leave this trail that if other teammates follow closely behind, they can have an additional boost. So you can kind of feed on each other in terms of contributing on being fast, which is like a cool mechanic, but it just gets tiring very quick. The items that you get, to attack or defend yourself, kind of like Mario Kart, you can share those items. So if you're going in first and you get an item that's an attack item, for example, you're not really gonna need that. So you typically send that item to your AI partners, and they can use it to gain positions if they're trailing behind you. So there is a strategy element, but for whatever reason, it was not implemented well, in my opinion. Now that is not to say team Team Sonic Racing is a bad game per se, but it was just not as enjoyable as the previous games, and it was very, I guess, forgettable in my opinion. Like, I don't foresee myself going back to this game, unfortunately, as opposed to the other games, which, you know, I have this one on the Wii U, for example, but I do also own it on Steam, and I go back to this game every now and then on Steam, just to experience the fun that this game was, you know, with the cool mechanic of shifting between car, plane, and boat. You know, so this game was a lot of fun. But yeah, a shame that this game, you know, I have to commend Sega for trying something new, kind of like the team mechanic. I think that was a good idea, but not very well executed on paper, unfortunately. So with that being said, thank you guys for watching this video, and I hope to see you all later. Take it easy.